Did Sid backstab the guys? And what is Ipsium? I'm Nate, and today let's look at Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 9, The Crossing. In this episode, the Bad Batch is sent to mine Ipsium Mineral for Sid. After losing the Havoc Marauder to a thief, a series of errors snowball, leaving the guys and Omega stranded. Written by Brooke Roberts, a producer and writer for Chris Pratt's The Terminal List, Episode 9 was released on February 15th, 2023 on Disney+. The episode starts off as the guys arrive on an unknown and desolate planet. Sid has bought a mine and set the guys to find and retrieve a highly volatile but extremely valuable mineral called Ipsium. At first glance, this episode appears to be a filler episode that doesn't contribute much to the overall season storyline, other than to give Omega and Tech a chance to develop as characters. But after a closer look, there is something deeper going on here. Yes, Tech and Omega develop as characters, but they also develop their character, or rather their inner being. The term Ipsium seems just like another made-up name, but it's actually a form of the Latin word ipsum, which means yourself or thyself. As noted on the fandom.com website, Wikipedia, the guys in Omega literally go into a mine to find themselves. And if you see the episode through that lens, you will notice a lot more going on. The action is slow, but the episode is smartly crafted and everything has a purpose, because what's going on physically represents the mindsets and place of Omega and Tech. Omega ends up being called in to extract the Ipsium because she is small enough to get into the space where the mineral is located. Think of the mine like the cave that Luke Skywalker goes into in The Empire Strikes Back. Omega is visibly bothered by Echo leaving the squad to join Rex, as well as frustrated that the guys are not reacting the same way. She is thus summoned into the mine to examine herself and her attitude towards the guys. Hunter stands nearby, guiding her to be careful and precise, just like a good mentor should do. The act of building your own character takes precision and careful awareness of the volatility of your own personality when poked and prodded. Tech, being extremely literal and lacking social awareness of how he approaches the world around him, is naturally at odds with Omega and her emotions. When Omega has an outburst, Tech does not understand her reaction, and the two set off unwittingly on a path that forces them to discover each other's emotional investment in the squad and each other. When Omega asks Tech for a little help, she's not just asking him to grab the vial of Ipsium, she's asking him to join her on her discovery of self and do the same character work on his own. Soon, Omega finds a jackpot of Ipsium, and Tech helps her retrieve as much as she can, but then she falls down a dark chasm. Now faced with the potential loss of Omega, Tech jumps in after her without hesitation. It's interesting that when Tech makes the decision, he does not have his helmet on or his tablet in his hand. These are devices that he relies on for every decision he makes. Even as this episode progresses, every word out of his mouth is carefully considered through the lens of the technology at his fingertips. It's fantastic writing because it sets us up for this moment. So when Omega falls down the chasm, Tech has none of his gear with him, yet he jumps immediately in after her. This tells us that he deeply cares for her and his squad, despite his demeanor. He doesn't need to rely on his technology to make the decision. His inner character already knows what he must do when he sees Omega fall into the darkness below. When Tech and Omega emerge from the dark aquifer into a well-lit cave filled with Ipsium Mineral, it is a metaphor for their journey of self-discovery and character development. They have reached a form of enlightenment or peace about themselves. Omega expresses her frustration with Tech's seemingly lack of empathy towards Echo leaving the squad, but Tech looks into himself and relents that he expresses things differently than her, though he feels the same way as she does. This helps Omega to realize that others don't need to feel and express themselves as she does. As a result, she has a better understanding of Tech and the rest of Bad Batch. What I think this is leading to in terms of the direction of the season is the return of Crosshair. I think that the writing team had Echo leave in order to create a void, and we as the audience need to understand how that void is affecting the guys and Omega before it is filled. In the season 1 finale, we saw how the guys felt about Crosshair leaving, but they want him back. With this episode, we get how the gang feels about each other and how losing someone changes things. At the end of the episode, Tech finds an antenna array and contacts Sid, but she doesn't want to help them. Tech reminds her that they helped her get her bar back from Roland Duran and settle her debt with Malegi. Sid relents and says that she will send some help in a couple of days. I know that some people don't like Sid to begin with, and this is just more proof of her treachery, but we've been told that she has a shady side to her by Malegi, and we've seen her be remorseful and, in a few cases, grow as a character because of the guys. There's a lot of kickback towards Sid online for this, which is fair, but it also needed to happen. First off, it's the rule of threes. 3 things need to happen to show something big. First, Echo leaves, then the Marauder is stolen. Both events throw Omega into a state of depression and frustration. She works through the emotions and is hit again by another loss. In this case, the potential loss of what she seems to have viewed as a valued friendship with Sid, but this time she has a better understanding of herself and weathers it through. I've heard a few different theories online so far as to why Sid is so unwilling to help the guys in Omega. One is that Sid is possibly in trouble with the Empire and she's protecting the guys by getting them away. Another is that she's backstabbing them because she owes them too much. So she stole their ship out from under them to make a buck and hopefully get rid of them. My theory is that Fee Genoa is the culprit. If you remember in episode 1, Fee gives Sid a tip on Count Dooku's war chest, to which Sid sends the guys to get a piece of it. I think Sid owes Fee a cut of the booty, but because no treasure was retrieved, no cut was given. In episode 5, Fee gets a peek at the Havoc Marauder, and when Hunter convinces her to return the heart of the mountain back to its place in order to render the Doomsday device inert, Fee tells Hunter that they owe her. I think Sid is in over her head in debt to Fee, and Fee has come to collect what's due to her. Either way, Sid is in trouble. If the Ipsium mine is a metaphor for self-introspection and personal development, it's interesting that the mine she buys is empty except for one little nugget. As I've stated several times, the overarching theme for this season is freedom, and Sid is clearly oppressed by her own ambition and decision-making. I think a possible major event is her finally breaking free from her ways, just like Han Solo broke away from his smuggling ways. Another option for the major event that is coming is the return of Crosshair to the squad. In episodes 7 and 8, it was rather noticeable that he was absent from Rampart's plans. Admiral Rampart clearly has no love for Crosshair or the clones, which is why I have a hard time believing that the clone sniper, Clone X, is anything but a special expendable clone designed for Rampart by Nayla Se. I think Crosshair is contemplating leaving as a result. At the end of episode 3, when Rampart tells him that Commander Cody has deserted, Crosshair is somewhat flustered by the news, as well as Rampart's use of the clone identification numbers rather than the names they've given each other. All of this, Crosshair's mission with Cody, Omega and Tech's journey in the cave, and Omega's anxiety over Echo leaving and the Marauder being stolen, are a sign that something big is coming. The next episode is titled Retrieval. What is going to be retrieved, I don't know, but it will certainly be more than just the guys in Omega from this desolate planet. Overall, I thought this episode was extremely well written. Without some analysis, it appears on the surface to be innocuous and a filler episode, but in reality, it delved deep into the inner thoughts of Omega and Tech in order for us to get an idea of what the squad means to them, so the impact of whatever change is coming will be felt and easily understood. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content and the deeper discussion into the themes found in Star Wars, please hit the like button and subscribe to keep me in your feed.